Welcome to the lessons. In this class, we'll cover essential photo editing techniques like removing red eyes, blemishes, and unwanted objects. You'll also learn how to move and extend subjects, use tools like the healing brush, patch tool, clone stamp, and pattern stamp, and perform a practical photo conversion. By the end, you'll have a strong foundation in Photoshop editing. Let's dive in. We'll begin by opening Image 37 in Photoshop. This is the image we'll be working on for this task. It's a good practice to duplicate the original layer before making any edits. Turn off the visibility of the original background layer by clicking the eye icon next to it in the Layers panel. Now, we'll use the red eye tool to correct the red eyes in the photo. You can find this tool in the Spot Healing Brush tool group in the toolbar. Select it, and it's ready for use. Before we apply the tool, zoom in on the eyes for better precision. Hold the Alt key and scroll up with your mouse to zoom in on the red eye area. Simply click on the red part of the eye. Photoshop will automatically detect and remove the red eye effect, restoring the natural eye color. Next, we'll move to Image 31 in Photoshop, which contains the photo where we'll remove blemishes. Duplicate the original layer to preserve the original image. Now, select the Spot Healing Brush tool from the toolbar. This tool is perfect for removing small imperfections like blemishes. Check the options bar at the top and ensure the mode is set to normal and the type is set to content aware. This setting helps Photoshop intelligently fill in the area where the blemish was removed, blending it seamlessly with the surrounding pixels. You can easily change the brush size to match the size of the blemish. Press the close square bracket key to increase the brush size or the open square bracket key to decrease it. Zoom in on the blemish areas to get a clear view for precise editing. Use Alt-Scroll up to zoom in or use the Zoom tool. Once you've adjusted the brush size to fit the blemish, simply click on the blemish, and Photoshop will remove it instantly, using surrounding pixels to replace it. Now it's your turn. Go ahead and try fixing the blemishes on your image. Just follow the steps we've outlined to download the images and begin editing. Next, let's move on to how we can move a subject or extend part of a subject using the Content Aware Move tool. For example, I have an image opened with a duplicate already created in the Layers panel. If we want to move this smaller kangaroo closer to the larger one, follow these steps. Now go ahead and pick the Content Aware Move tool from the tool panel. Make sure to keep the default values in the options bar for optimal results. Zoom in on the image to get a clear view of the smaller kangaroo, which will allow you to create a precise marquee selection. Now draw a rough marquee around the smaller kangaroo using the Content Aware Move tool. Once the marquee is drawn, simply drag the selected area to the desired new position, in this case, closer to the larger kangaroo. Then you can use the transform handles to scale or rotate the subject if needed, adjusting the size and orientation to match your composition. When you're satisfied with the new position and any transformations you've applied, click the check mark in the options bar or press the Enter key on your keyboard to confirm the changes. Feel free to experiment with the structure and color settings in the options bar. The structure option controls how closely Photoshop preserves the original structure of the moved object, while the color option determines how much the color can be blended with the surrounding area. To remove the current selection, simply press Ctrl-D or Command-D on Mac to deselect it. Now, let's say you want to extend a part of the image. This can also be done using the same Content Aware Move tool. For example, if I want to extend the legs of this larger kangaroo. With the Content Aware Move tool selected, choose the Extend option from the options bar, while keeping the other settings as they are. Draw a marquee around the part of the subject you want to extend, in this case, the kangaroo's legs. Once the selection is made, drag the marquee slightly downward to extend the legs as needed. Press the Enter key to apply the transformation. Finally, deselect the selection by pressing Ctrl-D or Command-D. Now, let's say you want to extend the neck of the kangaroo. Again, using the Content-Aware Move tool, draw a marquee over the neck area. Then drag the selection upward or downward to extend the neck as desired, and press Enter to confirm the transformation. And that's it! You've successfully extended the parts of the subject using the Content-Aware Move tool. Now let me show you how to remove subjects from an image. For instance, if I want to remove this smaller kangaroo from the image, here are the steps I'll follow. First, select the Remove tool from the Tool panel. Make sure the necessary options are enabled in the options bar for accurate results. Keep in mind that the Remove tool functions similarly to a brush. You can adjust the brush size by pressing the close square or open square bracket keys to decrease or increase the tip size as needed. Let me zoom in on the document to get a clearer view of the subject. Now, I'll begin painting over the smaller kangaroo with the Remove tool. As I paint, the Remove tool processes the area and effectively removes the selected subject from the entire image. And there you have it. The smaller kangaroo is completely removed. Let's explore how to use the Healing Brush tool and Patch tool in Photoshop. These tools are great for removing and retouching photos. Open your image, Image 31, and duplicate the layer. From the Tool panel, select the Healing Brush tool. Ensure the default settings are retained in the options bar. Zoom into the document as needed. Adjust the brush size using the bracket keys, like other brush tools. Hold down the Alt key and click to sample a nearby area of skin close to the blemish. Release the Alt key and click over the blemish area to apply the sampled skin tone. Repeat these steps to fix other blemishes on the skin. You can also opt to use the Spot Healing Brush tool instead of the Healing Brush tool. The Spot Healing Brush is an advanced version and simplifies the process by automatically sampling the surrounding area without the need for manually picking a source point. Now let's learn how to resample a pattern using the Healing Brush tool. This can be particularly useful if you want to apply a texture or pattern effect to the background of an image. Follow these steps. First, select the main subject of the image by going to Select Subject. Photoshop will automatically generate a selection around the subject. Since the goal is to apply the pattern to the background, you'll need to inverse the selection. Press Ctrl-Shift-I Windows or Command-Shift-I Mac to select everything except the subject. With the background now selected, choose the Healing Brush tool from the toolbar. In the options bar, set the mode to normal. This ensures that the tool blends the pattern with the background smoothly. Activate the pattern option in the options bar. This allows you to sample and apply a pattern instead of a texture from the image. Open the pattern menu, where you can browse various types of patterns. For example, you can choose patterns related to trees, grass, or water. Let's say you want to add a water texture to the background. Select a suitable pattern from the water category. Use the square bracket keys to increase or decrease the brush size as needed, depending on the area you're working on. Once you've set everything up, begin painting over the selected background area to apply the pattern. The Healing Brush tool will blend the pattern seamlessly with the existing background, maintaining a natural look. You can also experiment with other blending modes in the options bar to achieve various pattern styles. Try them out to see how different modes interact with the background and pattern, and find a style that suits your preference. Let's now focus on the Patch tool and how it can be used for removing unwanted elements from an image. While Photoshop offers a Remove tool for this task, it's important to understand how the Patch tool works as well, offering more control in certain situations. Imagine you want to remove a can from the image. Here's how you can do it using the Patch tool. From the toolbar, select the Patch tool. Ensure that the mode is set to normal in the Options bar for standard blending. In the same Options bar, make sure the Source option is selected. This will allow you to replace the unwanted object with a texture from another area of the image. Keep the diffusion value at its default setting for smooth blending. To work with more precision, zoom in on the area where the object is located. With the Patch tool, draw a rough selection around the object, in this case, the can. You don't need to be overly precise, as the tool will blend the edges naturally. After making your selection, click inside the selected area and drag it to another part of the image that has a similar texture you want to use as a replacement. Release the mouse to apply the patch, and Photoshop will replace the object with the sampled area, seamlessly blending it into the background. Let's focus on the Clone Stamp tool and Pattern Stamp tool in Photoshop. I have an image opened in Photoshop, and I want to clone this bird over here in the sky. Here's how to do it. In the toolbar, select the Clone Stamp tool. Next, set the following values in the Options bar to ensure proper functionality. Mode, Normal, Opacity, 100%. Flow, 100%. Rotation. Ensure the Aligned option is enabled. Set the sample to current layer. Zoom into the area where the bird is located for better accuracy. If needed, adjust the brush size using the square bracket keys to fit the bird or the area you're cloning. Hold the Alt, Windows, or Option Mac key and click on the bird image to sample the pixels. Release the Alt Option key, then click and paint over the area where you want to place the clone of the bird. Photoshop will duplicate the selected pixels to the new location. The Clone Stamp tool is also useful for removing objects from an image. For example, if you want to remove a bird from the picture, follow these steps. Use the keys to adjust the brush size depending on the area you're working on. Hold down the Alt Option key and click to sample pixels from the background near the bird. After releasing the Alt Option key, paint over the bird using the sampled background pixels to seamlessly remove it from the image. If needed, continue sampling from different areas, e.g. the sky, and cloning until the bird is completely removed and the area is filled naturally. The Pattern Stamp tool allows you to paint a specific pattern onto your image. Unlike the Clone Stamp tool, which samples from the actual pixels of an image, the Pattern Stamp tool applies a predefined or custom pattern. This is useful for adding textures, creating backgrounds, or overlaying patterns to enhance a design. Let's explore how to blend a pattern with an image to create an abstract effect. Follow these steps. Open the Layers panel and click on the plus icon to create a new layer. Rename this layer Pattern for clarity. From the toolbar, select the Pattern Stamp tool. In the Options bar, configure the following settings. Mode, Normal, Opacity, 100%. Flow, 100%. Click on the Pattern menu in the Options bar and choose a pattern. For this example, select the Tree texture from the Trees pattern category. Use the square bracket keys to increase or decrease the brush size as needed. A larger brush size may help cover more area smoothly. With your settings in place, begin painting over the new pattern layer you created. This allows the pattern to be applied without affecting the original image. To create a unique abstract blend, make sure the pattern layer is selected in the Layers panel. Now, experiment with different blending modes from the drop-down menu in the Layers panel to achieve various effects. For this particular image, the Vivid Light blending mode works well, creating a striking and unusual effect. However, feel free to try different blending modes, such as Overlay, Soft Light, or Multiply, to see how they interact with the image and pattern for seamless blends. Let's go step by step to enhance an image using the basic Photoshop photo editing techniques you've learned so far. Follow along to better understand how to manipulate an image for a refined result. Begin by opening the image labeled Image 93 in Photoshop. In the Layers panel, duplicate the current image layer. Rename the new layer Main Photo for clarity and organization. To keep the original image intact, turn off the visibility of the background layer by clicking the eye icon next to it. Using the Remove tool, carefully eliminate distracting elements such as the electricity pole and wires from the image for a cleaner look. When using the Remove tool, it's important to adjust the brush tip size according to the area you're focusing on. For instance, a smaller brush tip is ideal for removing fine elements like wires, while a slightly larger brush tip works better for bigger objects like the pole. Keep in mind that the process of removing elements may vary in speed depending on your computer's performance. To avoid any slowdown or lag, I highly recommend not painting over the entire object at once. Instead, work in small sections, removing the unwanted elements portion by portion. This approach not only improves efficiency, but also ensures more control over the final result. Next, create a selection over the sky area. For this task, I recommend using the Magic Wand tool due to its ease of use for selecting areas with similar colors. Set the tolerance to a higher value, such as 70, to capture a broader range of pixels. In the options bar, ensure that the Add to Selection option is enabled, allowing you to click multiple times to expand the selection and ensure the entire sky area is properly selected. Now you can create a color balance adjustment layer to enhance the color tones in the image. Apply the following settings to achieve a balanced and vibrant look. For highlights, cyan red, 45, magenta green, -23, yellow blue, 49. For midtones, cyan red, 44, magenta green, -17, yellow, 48. And for shadows, cyan red, 39, magenta green, -18, yellow blue, 37. Adjust these values as needed based on the specific characteristics of your image to achieve the desired color balance and effect. Now, if you take a look at the Layers panel, you'll notice the Color Balance Adjustment layer positioned above the main photo layer. Let's rename this adjustment layer to Color Balance Sky for clarity. If you want to readjust the colors later, simply double-click the Color Balance thumbnail in the Layers panel. This will allow you to make any necessary changes to the existing values. Next, ensure that the main photo layer is activated in the Layers panel to modify the colors of the ground. You can follow the same selection process you used for the sky to create a selection over the ground area before adding a new color balance adjustment layer. I have already applied a color balance adjustment layer to the ground and renamed it Color Balance Field. Now, you can try creating a new color balance adjustment layer with the appropriate values to achieve the desired result. Experiment with different settings to enhance the colors of the ground effectively. Now, to further enhance the vibrancy of the entire image, I will create a levels adjustment layer. First, ensure the main photo layer is activated. Then, follow these steps to create the levels adjustment layer with the following settings. Shadows. Set the value between 25 and 35 to adjust the dark areas. Midtones. Set this value between 0.6 and 1 to achieve the desired balance in the midtone areas. Highlights. Set the value between 220 and 230 to increase the lightness and enhance the overall brightness of the image. After applying these adjustments, the entire image should display a more balanced and vibrant color application, improving its overall visual appeal. To further enhance the image, I can incorporate additional subjects, such as birds, to create a more dynamic composition. Let's proceed with the following steps. Begin by selecting the Magic Wand tool. Set the tolerance value to 32 and ensure the Add to Selection option is active in the options bar. Click on the sky area to create a selection. Since we want to select the birds, press Ctrl-Shift-I Windows or Command-Shift-I Mac to invert the selection. With the birds selected, press Ctrl-C Windows or Command-C Mac to copy them. Navigate to your main document and press Ctrl-V Windows or Command-V Mac to paste the birds into the image. Press Ctrl-T Windows or Command-T Mac to activate the transformation controls. Hold the Shift key while adjusting the scale to maintain the aspect ratio and reposition the birds to fit naturally within the composition. By following these steps, you can effectively enhance your image by adding new elements, making it more exciting and visually engaging. Now, if I take a look at the Layers panel, I can see that the bird layer is placed beneath the adjustment layers. This is why the birds are affected by the color adjustments applied earlier, as these layers affect everything below them. To fix this, simply drag the bird layer above the adjustment layers and rename it Birds. If you'd like, you can also apply levels to the bird's layer to fine-tune the brightness and contrast, making the birds blend more naturally with the rest of your composition. Now it's your turn. Experiment by building more image compositions using the tools and techniques you've learned so far. This will help you develop a strong understanding of how to manipulate layers and adjustments. Once you're comfortable, proceed to the next lesson, where we will cover the basics of color correction in Photoshop.